Yo, good morning and welcome to Lead Judges TV. I'm your host, Dan Potts, and I'm with none other than the main man himself, Mr. Lead Judges. I hope you're all well this morning. Nice and early for you guys on a weekend again. We try and do this if we can to try and round up what's going on in the world of sport and also to talk about the Euros and a little bit about the Arsenal transfers, which we think are starting to finally progress. But first of all, how are you, Lee? How's your week been and how was Wimbledon, mate?
Wow. I said I'm still struggling. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still struggling. But yeah, Wimbledon was fantastic. So look out for the video because we've done a bit of videoing for that. And it's actually now with Sam and who's doing the editing for us. So hopefully I'll get that up today or something. And so look out for that. So a little bit of what it's like behind the scenes at a Wimbledon function, as they say. But yeah, I'm struggling. I'll tell you this. First of all, before I say happy birthday to my mum, I know she'll watch this.
Yes.
So it's my mum's birthday today. So I was going to go out for a meal tonight, but obviously England game's on. So I had to say, look, mum, I've got to work, so can't come out for a meal. But I'll have you round for a barbecue, which I now found out it's going to rain tomorrow. But the more important to it, Dan, right? The most important thing to it is that the barbecue that I had was getting a bit rusty and all that, so I got a new one. Which Michelle's kids, Regan and Chelsea bought for me for Father's Day, which is very, very nice, you know. So, but anyway, I thought, well, I put it up last night. It won't take me long. Well, I'm halfway through it. I've cut my hand. I can't work out of the trade. You need a degree in construction to sort this thing out, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, I have not got a degree in anything, you know what I mean? So it's been tough. So, but there you go, now. How's your week been, anyways? You had a good week?
Nice, mate. Yeah, I've actually been off work. I had a mate's wedding on Wednesday, which was nice, which I had a couple of days recovering from. But this weekend, I'm looking forward to the game tonight, which we'll come into. I've got the boys over later. I'll tell you what, trying to get in a bar now, Lee, is impossible, mate, to watch anywhere. I mean, honestly,
it's ridiculous.
You can't get anywhere, mate. You can't get anywhere. And you know what? I haven't watched the game in the pub yet, but a lot of people are saying it ain't quite the same because, you know, there's a few bouncers around that are trying to say, yeah, don't cheer, don't start singing, don't get up, and it's not the same, is it? You know, I think I have to wait until these restrictions lift properly to go out again. I think because it's just silly, innit? You don't want to go out like not be able to have a proper night, will you? Do you know what I mean? But we'll see what happens, mate.
It is weird, you know. All this thing you can't dance or can't ever whatever, like, you know, celebrate and everything like that. Is ridiculous, you know. And then you go to the actual game and they're all going mad, you know. So I don't really understand it all, like, you know. I still say this now. What is the difference between sitting down and standing up? You know, when you go to these bars and that sit down, you can't stand up. So can someone tell me what's the difference between sitting up and standing up, you know?
You're safer, mate. Safety.
Is that what it is, like, you know what I mean? So,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like,
it is ridiculous, mate.
It's like our transfer policy, and you just don't understand it. You know what I mean?
It's the unknown, mate. That's what it is. It's the unknown.
It's the unknown.
It is, mate. It is, mate. I know we're putting a video. Yeah, I know we're putting a video on it at Wimbledon, but how was it, mate? And who did you get to see?
Do you know what? It was fantastic, and you know, it was like. We actually we see the English guy Cameron. I'm going to go if it's Nori. I think
Nuri,
it's Nori.
Yeah.
Nuri, who's actually South African, you know.
But he's got
Federer
Federer next, doesn't he? Is that right?
Yeah, he's got Federer today, which was so it was decent, like, you know. So and then we but because obviously Nadal weren't there and a couple of pulled out, a couple of the big guns weren't there, so we didn't really see. Then we actually see Mendeleev, and with the tennis. I have to say that, you know, the day before it was the Andy Murray sensation and things and like that, but it was a little bit too one-sided, the games. So, you know, Mendeleev, for instance, just breezed past this Spanish fella. You know, he was only in second gear. You know what I mean? I think I could have given him a better game. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But you know, that's how it is and all that. It's the behind the scenes going around, walking around.
Mate.
Do you know when you come out of the station, you walk up, and I'll tell you what, there's 3 grounds that do that to you, like maybe 4. You walk along and you see Wimbledon. There's something that it just gets you. It's just the awe of the place, you know what I mean? And that's Wimbledon. definitely Lords, Wembley, and Highbury. They were the four sort of major grounds. You think, oh, it's just something nostalgic, something about it history-wise. Obviously, Arsenal because of the connection with the football club, but those other two, like Lords and Wimbledon and Wembley, you just got something about them, the history of it all and everything like that. So fantastic. I see Marcus went on Wednesday. You had a result going on Wednesday, it was Andy Murray was like super. What a great game that was. Andy Murray I know he's gone out now, but just what a sportsman, what a determination to just do what he's is unbelievable. When you look was one of the best, and now you're not quite elite. You're not one of the best, but you just put in the effort. I just thought it was magnificent, so really big up to him, and unfortunately he's not there no more, he's gone out, but and it's looking like Djokovic all the way, unfortunately, what I mean? Not that I don't dislike him, I think he's a fantastic player, but hopefully someone will give him a game at least. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I think if it's going to be anybody, then it will be one of the Federers or one of those, won't it? Because he's just so good, Djokovic. He really is. I just want someone to give him a game. That's all I want. Obviously, Andy Murray went out. Dan Evans went out.
Dan Evans. That was a bit
of a shame.
But yeah,
bit of a shame. I'll tell you what, though, he's got a serve, hasn't he? His first serve, if that goes in. It's unbelievable.
It's unreal. And I'll tell you what is unreal about Wimbledon, and I'll tell you this day, is actually watching it live to watching it on the telly is a completely different experience. So I have to say that, just so much different. But, Federer can do well. And of course, the Australian NASA, I absolutely love Kyrgios, he's absolutely... He's box office. He's absolutely box office. He's unseeded, I think, in this tournament.
He's nuts, isn't
he? He could. Well, I think it was last year. He gave Nadal one a real good test. I think it went 5 sets. So so there's a real chance that he could do something like as an unseed. But obviously, hopefully Federer. I'm hoping that he can get through, but obviously it's a difficult one when he's playing up against an English guy today. So, but if he does get through this, he's the one that could give Djokovic a game. But I think, as we say, Djokovic all the way.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I can't see anybody else. In other news, Lewis Hamilton has signed a 2-year contract at Mercedes, which is good news if you're a fan of Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. Race today should be a good one. Max Verstappen is really pushing him all the way, so that'll be a good weekend of sport as well. But we can't go anywhere without talking about Arsenal, mate, before we move into tonight's game. We're being linked with 409 players now, Lee.
409?
Yeah, 409 now. In all seriousness, it does get to a stage where this happens, where we have a lot of rumours. However, 2 signings look to be on the way. 3 we're being heavily linked with. The first guy is this guy who I'll bring up on the screen, Nuno Tavares, left back for Benfica, 21 years old, very highly rated, very skillful, got some flair, and is obviously going to be an understudy to Kieran Tierney. Lee, what's your thoughts on this signing, mate?
Yeah, if it's the case, I think it's a good one. Young. We could have gone down 2 routes. We could have gone for the young, up and coming one, which is what we seem to have done, or the more experienced one. So we've gone there, and I think that's probably the best thing to do. He's definitely going to get games with Kieran Tierney, injury record. And I think there will be times when Kieran will just be rested, and managed through his injuries. And I think that what we need to do is get someone in there. I think with the way Saka's been playing for England and games, he's definitely more of an attacking player. And so I feel that, if Tierney was out, we could use Saka in there. But then when we're losing, our predatory going forward. So I think it's a good move. And I think not one that's going to be exciting, but the ones that you need. I think, I'm desperate that we get a couple of real big marquee signings, but we do need a few of these sort of signings as well. So for me, well pleased with it.
Yeah, I'm happy with it as well, and I quite like him. I know he's got some dodgy videos out there. A few people have shown me some weird videos of him kissing his dogs and stuff, which is very, very odd, I must admit. However, if you haven't seen that, go on YouTube and put in Tavares and dogs. I'm sure something will come up. Very, very odd. However, I think it's a good signing and one that we need. The other guy we're linked with, which is pretty much done as well, apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, is Lokonga. I don't see this, Lee, as a starter. I see this again as a bit more of a backup and covering centre midfield. He's highly rated, 21 years old. Thierry Henry has said himself that the young Belgian Fernando looks like a talent. A little bit of power, a little bit of presence, kind of a Paul Pogba type, really. Do you think he's going to be a partner for Thomas Partey, or do you think he's coming in and we're waiting for one more to go ahead of him?
No, I think that he's going to be the backup. I think like more likely he's going to be a replacement for Guendouzi. That's how I see it. Like, you know, so whatever has happened with Guendouzi's happened, and I don't think there's no going back for that. Like, so I think they're looking to back up. They need somebody else big in there in midfield if they're going to let Granit Xhaka go. So I think this is more of a backup and a Guendouzi sort of replacement as well. So, but one for the future as well. So. Yeah, as I said, you know, these signings would be fantastic if you've got the marquee signings as well. But you know, it'd be exciting. So at the moment, they're not going to excite us. But what they're going to do is they're building us for the future and foundations. But you know, we're still waiting for those big boy signings, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning to Fergus from Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Score prediction
Morning,
for England
Fergus.
tonight. Well, we'll come into that. We're just doing Arsenal at the moment, but we will be getting into England. If you haven't done so already, please go on to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Give them a like and a sub on their YouTube channel. Great podcast, both on audio and, of course, on YouTube. So please get yourself over there and support Fergus and the boys. Lee, I'm going to talk about this guy because I think we were linked with him back in 1987 and it's still not over the line yet. Ben White. This is a strange one for me because it sounds like it's pretty much a done deal. Everton and Man City are coming in apparently with late bids, which is scaring a lot of people. But from what I'm hearing, he is going to be an Arsenal player. I've got two questions, mate. First of all, on Ben White, but also on William Saliba. Now, Saliba looks to be going to Marseille on loan again over in France. I'm not losing my head about this or angry about it. I'm more find it odd, bizarre and frustrating. We bought this kid for £27 million as an 18, 19-year-old. He looked to be the next best thing over in France. We've seen other French defenders come over to the Premier League like Fofana and do very well for Leicester. And we still aren't going to see this kid. And it's been now 3 years without seeing William Saliba in an Arsenal shirt. Now, do you think, Lee, like me, that this is nothing to do with football or talent? This is to do with off-the-field stuff or attitude problems, because as far as I'm concerned, everyone's raving about this kid, apart from Arteta, who doesn't want to play him. So what does this mean for this guy's future at Arsenal, do you think?
Well, I think you can look at it two ways. One I feel is a bit worrying is that obviously he's not Mikel Arteta signing for a start. Two, he's still very, very young, you know, and getting him out on loan, getting him learning things and everything like that, maybe the best way to go, you know, because at the end of it, if you're learning he could be making mistakes at the Arsenal and ruining his career. That's happened before to a lot of younger players, been put in the situations and it's not quite worked out. So I think that another loan period is nothing bad if they're going to continue to keep him on a contract and things like that. I'd rather him be playing, Dan, than sitting on our bench and whatever. Like, you know, if you look at it, if they do sign Ben White, it looks like it'll be Ben White and Gabriel, which is a long-term partnership that can be there. Then you're going to have Saliba coming in there, which would be a good one if you got Saliba backing up with Mari. So I think there'd be four fantastic central defenders. But hopefully, you know, we will see him at some stage. But, you know, I look at it there, 19, 20, this is when you've got to start making your moves. And so I think that this season will be a real key for him, like, you know, to see what he goes. I would actually like to see him, if he is to be loaned out in the Premier League. That's what I'd like to see.
Here.
So, like, Newcastle or even Brighton, say at Brighton, look, we'll take Ben White and you can have Saliba on loan for a season. You know, I'd like to see that, like Chelsea have just done it with Gilmour and at Norwich. You know what I mean? Like giving him the experience of the Premier League, and I think that's something that Arsenal need to do. Forget about him going over to France. Get over here. Get used to the Premier League. Settling in England. That would be my my take on it. I'm not absolutely disappointed that he's being put on loan again, because I think he's a youngster. Don't forget, going back years ago, and people don't realise this, Dan, he used to have reserve team football, so you'd be playing up against players coming back from injury, whatever, and it was a good sort of foundation. They haven't got that now. You've got like youth football, and then you're into the Premier League. So I don't think it's such a bad thing. So with the pandemic and everything there, I think he did lose a year of his football because of this. So, I'm not going to lose no sleep over it. I'm a little bit like you on this. Let's see what happens before I start losing my stuff on this. Everybody going, oh, this and this and that. No one's seen what he can do yet. Realistically, we're actually paid for potential, and we've got to nurture that potential.
I think we have, and I think the guy's capable. I've seen him. Listen, I know a little bit about football. I like to think that he is a talent, but I think this is attitude and off the field stuff, first of all, and Arteta's going to be looking to see what he wants to do with him. I'm frustrated like everybody. I think we all want to see the kid because everyone's raving about him. He was great over in France for Saint Etienne, superb last season for Nice. Let's see what he can do this season. If it's a player that we do not want, however, I'd rather just sell him and then go and replace him with someone that we need, if I'm honest, if Arteta really doesn't want him. So I'm a bit confused about what he's trying to do with him, but I'm sure we shall see. Ben White, I think, will be a very good signing. Really like this kid. And I was listening to the England setup the other day, and Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka were asked, who is the one player that has surprised you the most in terms of their talent? And they both said Ben White. So for Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka to say that, they're obviously some young upcoming flair players, and I'm sure some of them other England lads would have picked those two. But for them to pick Ben White, a few individuals have said how great he is in terms of his mentality and leadership, as well as his ability. Very versatile, can play in a few positions. And I think that this signing will actually be a really good one, personally. As for Saliba, I'm like you, Lee. I'd like to see him in the Premier League, but I think it's going to be one of those situations that we don't quite know the full story. I think there's something else with this one, personally. But Lee, I'm going to ask you, because we've been linked with, obviously, left back looks like he's coming. Lokonga in the centre midfield looks like he's coming. Ben White is a centre back. What other positions do you think Arsenal need to strengthen this summer, mate?
100% down the middle, and we need a creative midfield player. If we don't get a creative midfield player, we're going to be in exactly the same position as we was before Christmas. Look at what we were struggling. So we started it in the form a little bit. We knew the guy come in, so we need to sort that out. And I still think that we need a right back. Unbelievably, that the teams start going back to pre-season training on Monday, and Arsenal have got nowhere near the squad sorted out for the beginning of the season. Now, there were years ago, you'd have all your teams sorted out when you was going on pre-season. It's not like that no more. I don't even know what pre-season is for now. It's certainly not for getting your team together and working out things like that, because the team that you start off with in pre-season is ultimately not the team you finish at the beginning of the season. The lads now are all virtually fit anyway, so they keep themselves fit and everything like that. So I don't see what pre-season's about nowadays, because I think that you look at it there. Bellerin's, I don't think will be the starting right back next season. As we say, we're going to play pre-season games without a midfield with just Thomas Partey, who's going to be in there, but the next two players, are not there. We've obviously not got Saka, and we've not at this moment in time got a goalkeeper for these games, because Leno's still out on it, or just come back from international duty, so he's going to have a bit of a break. So there's so many things, so many holes that need plugging. But as everybody says, let's be patient and see what happens. And they've got to get a move on in the next week or so. And some of these players, I'm pretty sure that we're trying to get are not even in the Euros. So why haven't we sorted them out? Players that are not in the Euros that we need to sell. Like for instance, if Bellerin was going to be sold, why hasn't that deal been done? So maybe they're not going to happen then. So we'll have to wait and see. So I'm not going to lose my stuff about it. I'm just going to chill out and have faith in the powers of be.
Well, the one thing I've said, and I've been fairly positive, to be honest. I haven't been very positive on the pitch because I'm not a fan of Arteta. Everyone knows that. But I will say I've bigged them both up, Arteta and Edu, with some of the deals they have managed to do. Because I think the Thomas Partey deal was a good signing. Gabriel I rate. I like Pablo Mari. Tying Tierney, Saka, Martinelli, and hopefully Smith Rowe soon down to long-term contracts. Stuff off the field is starting to improve at Arsenal, but we need to start seeing stuff on the pitch. We are being linked with a goalkeeper. I think that Leno, there's a situation they're not quite sure what's happening with him. Onana from Ajax is being linked, albeit he can only play for a few months because of his doping ban and, of course, going over to the African Cup of Nations. Matt Ryan's got a little bit quiet, but I think that it was a signing that probably was easy to do, but that hasn't been done for whatever reason. And we've been linked with Aaron Ramsdale from Sheffield United as well. So goalkeeper's something that I think they're looking at. Right back, Tyler Adams, Max Aarons, Tariq Lamptey, the guy from Sassuolo as well. Are all being linked. Right back, I don't see that as being a priority for Arteta. I really don't, because I think he's going to just, if he has to, make do with Cedric and Chambers. But I feel we need a new one. Left back has been sorted. Centre back with Ben White, we've discussed, and the Saliba deal. Centre midfield is the one for me, Lee. Creative and centre mid. I think we've literally got Thomas Partey, and that's it. Miguel Aziz is now been promoted from the youth team, and I think he's a baller, but I don't think he's ready to take us to glory. Mohamed El Neni looks to be probably staying as cover, but we certainly need one more other than just Lokonga. And I think if you look at the central midfield going forward, you're dead right. Smith Rowe, fantastic. But we don't want him playing 40 games a season because he's going to burn him out. And he's going to be exactly what happened before when we had no attacking midfielder until Smith Rowe and Erdegaard came into the side. I think we're okay attacking wise. I mean, a lot of people are saying we need a new striker. I only think we need a new striker if one of them leaves. I'm happy with Balogun being promoted. I think Martinelli is a centre forward, in my opinion, as opposed to a left winger. And I like Aubameyang down the middle. I think Saka, Pepe, and Martinelli are good enough for the wings. So I think really it's that creative midfielder that we need. Sort the midfield out and a right back. And we're pretty much there. Just before we move on to later on, if we do have a good window, where should Arsenal be trying to get this coming season, mate? Should they be looking at top four, or should they be looking at trying to get higher than that, do you think?
Well, they've got to try and look to get as high as they possibly can. But I think for top four at the moment, you know what I mean, is listen, at this moment in time, to win the Premier League's a dream. It's you know, over the hill and far away. And so it's top four at the moment. I don't even look at this team now and think that we're anywhere near top four, and I don't think we will be. Unfortunately, I don't think the manager is top four material as well. You know, I've seen a few people in the chat going that he'll be gone within 10 games. If the current team is at the moment, if he doesn't get a creative midfielder and another midfield player in alongside Thomas Partey, he won't be here much longer than December anyway. So you know, it'd be the end of Mikel Arteta. As I say, you know, it doesn't bode me well when we're being linked with someone like Ramsdale, who's got relegated for the last 2 years, and we're on the way. We're on the decline so much that we could be relegated if we carry on the way we're going. You know, there's no one. I don't think. If you look at it, like, you know, anyway, at this moment in time, the rot's going to stop. We're eighth in the last 2 seasons. It needs a major overhaul. But, I really do, Dan. You know, it's no good saying, oh, just 1 or 2, you know, because we got 1 or 2 last season. We still finished 8th. We need a real big transfer window. And if we don't get it, I'm afraid we're going to be where we are. So I'm just going to see what happens. Just see what happens. And I'll tell you what, when it'd be interesting when the transfer window closes. We can have a good chat about it then, and then we can make a real good assessment of what's actually gone on. Because at this moment in time, a bit like everything, we just don't know what's going to happen.
No, we don't. And I just feel, Lee, and this might be a bit harsh me saying this, because I don't hate Mikel Arteta. I want people to get that right. I never would have had him in the job to start with. But when I look at the situation with Mikel Arteta and Edu, to be honest, they're both learning. But it seems as if they know what they want to do, but they haven't quite got the skills to actually do it. So it's more like talk and no action, if you get me. I just feel. they're getting the right players in. Everyone's happy with the signings, to be honest. Everyone's fairly happy with the players. There's only 4 or 5 that look like they're leaving anyway that people don't rate, like the Xhakas and Bellerins and Willians of this world. But actually, when you look at the majority of the team, I think a lot of people are fairly excited. They've got some good youngsters coming through. They've got a good crop of young players that they're trying to kind of keep together and tie down on long contracts. I can see where they're trying to take the team forward with the Tierney's and Sakas of this world and the Smith Rose and Martinellis. But it's a bit like you saying to me, I'd like a new wet room, Dan. And I say to you, oh, mate, I could come and do that for you if you want. I could get you the best Aqualisa shower, there's touch sensor and all the right gadgets and all that. You think, I'll have some of that. And then I come into you, fit all the U-bends, and it starts pissing out of water everywhere. And you say, hang on a minute, I thought you knew what you're doing. And I'm saying, well, I was kind of learning on the job, really, mate. And just heard about these new showers and new U-bends that are supposed to be brilliant to use, but they're all now pissing out of water. You're going to say, well, you're not right for the job, mate. You need to go back onto training and start learning the job until you come back. That's the way I see it with Mikel Arteta and with Edu in some degree. I don't actually think they're ready for this. And I think that although they've got all of it up there with what they want to do, you know, I can tell you the best way to play football if you want, or tell you the best positions to go and buy. But I actually still need to coach them and get them playing as a team. And that's my biggest worry. So that's what is going to be my biggest question mark going into this season, Lee, really, is how we start. Because although we've got Chelsea and City and Spurs in the first 6 games, we have also got Norwich, Burnley and Brentford that we should be taking 9 points against, in my opinion. And if we don't take those 9 points, Lee, I'm going to be asking questions, mate.
Well, yeah, and exactly. At the end of the day, so this moment in time, we're looking at beating Brentford, Burnley, Norwich. That's how we're looking at it. Like, you know, the other 3 we're giving up, and that's not how it should be. You know what I mean? I want to be going into the game against Chelsea and Manchester City, realistically thinking we've got a chance of winning. Now, Manchester City is actually on my birthday, you know what I mean? So,
oh, no, don't.
Last time last time it was on my birthday, it was in Manchester, we got beat 8-2. So, you know, and I don't want to be seeing that ever again. Like, you know, and if that is the case and we go to those games and we're not competitive, you know, it's not just Arteta's fault, is it? And that's my thing, you know what I mean? It's got to be everybody. If they've been given a listen, it's the same as every team. The end of the season, you know where you are, and we're as 8th. Now, I look at Manchester City. They won the title. They're looking to spend over 200 million on 2 players in Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. I look at Arsenal, and we finished 8th. Now that tells you everything. That you've got to do some bidding. The team's not good enough. That whatever way you look at it, it needs revamping. It needs everything, you know, a total makeover, if you like, you know. So there's your opportunity. And here we are in July, you know, Wimbledon started. We've not made 1 signing.
Are you surprised, though, Lee? Does that surprise you?
Well, when you're 8th in the league, yeah, it does. You know what I mean? It does surprise me when you've got owners telling you to be excited and all that. Well, what I would have done if I was an owner and want my fans to be excited, I wouldn't just launch a nice yellow kit. I would actually go and get a couple of players while the Euro's going on to get my fans and my fan base excited, looking forward to the season. I'll tell you that this now. I'm not looking forward to next season whatsoever. Why? As an Arsenal fan, what have you got to look forward to? The same things that have happened in the last couple of years. Now, Manchester United, for instance, have gone out and got Sancho already. Like, you know what I mean? They're now talking about Varane. Whether they get him or not is another thing. But all of a sudden, Manchester United fans are excited about the season. Why? Because they're spending money and they feel like they've got their club is trying to have a go, and they're protesting and smashing into their stadium about their owners. But not being good enough. But there they are, gone out and just bought Sancho, looking to buy one of the best central defenders in the world. Arsenal, nothing. But let's be patient. That's what they say.
Yeah, no, that's what everyone keeps saying, isn't it? You know, it's got ages yet till. I think it's actually open until the 31st of August, apparently, the window. But
yeah, we'll see. And that's where I'm at. Like, you know what I mean? And it will tell you everything you need to know come the end of this transfer window. At this moment in time, Arsenal will finish 8th or 9th. Why?
Yeah.
Because the team finished 8th or 9th last season. It finished the season before that 8th.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change. What is going to change from that? In fact, what sometimes you can get higher up because other teams don't improve. What I see is other teams improving. Leicester's still looking to improve, And ultimately, the goal is not to compete with top four. It's to try and somewhere along the line compete with Chelsea and Manchester City.
Mm.
No
Yeah,
sign.
it's
No
going to be
sign.
so hard. It's going to be so hard, Lee, because I said this, I think, to you the other day. Manchester City, if they do get Kane and Grealish, they're flying ahead. I mean, everyone's going to be waving the white flags. It's ridiculous getting them to after the squad they've got. Liverpool are going to be back in the race next season when they get Van Dijk and Henderson, all their players back. Chelsea are going to invest big, in my opinion, this summer and put on a title challenge. They're not going to just want top four after just winning Champions League. And of course, you've got Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes. If they're going to sign Sancho, if they're going to sign Varane and some other players, although I'm not a massive fan of Oli, they've definitely got the squad there to get into the top four. So that's not even mentioning the Leicesters, the Spurs, the Evertons, the West Hams, the Villas that are all improving as well. We're going to be potentially left behind if we're not careful. So we do need to get these guys in the door, the right signings in the door quickly, because what I don't want is to do what we did with Thomas Partey, which was sign him 5 games in. We could have used him for those 5 games. We could have needed him for those 5 games. So I'm with you, mate, 100%.
The other thing is, as someone just mentioned it in there, that you've got to look over your shoulder. Aston Villa are looking a lot better this season, with some signings. They're looking to improve. Leeds United. So all of a sudden, if we are where we are, we're all of a sudden 10th, 11th, 12th. Where does it go from there? So Arsenal got to get off their backsides and do something this season, But we're waiting to see what happens. And at this moment in time, I'm not losing nothing over it because, as you said, we've got another 10 weeks of the transfer window yet. Loads of time to sort things out. But it's no good going to that first game of the season against Brentford with 6 of your new signings back at base trying to get fit.
100%, mate. 100%. But keeping it in the current, Lee Judges, you told me only a few days ago that if England were to beat Germany, that they would be in the final of the Euros. Do you stand by that? And how impressed were you the other night, mate? Because I thought it was a great second half.
100%. England done out. Funny enough, I watched the game against Switzerland and Spain yesterday, and you actually thinking, Spain are going to win this, and then it goes down to 10 men, and still Spain couldn't get through, only through on penalties. So you can't say these teams are underestimating. But for me, England have done really, really well. I think I will say this: Gareth Southgate got everything spot on the other night.
Yeah.
I think tactically, substitutions or everything were fantastic. Yeah, I wanted to see Jack Grealish playing. But ultimately, when the game opened up, on come Jack and he just completely changed the game and won it for us, if I'll be honest. So I think that he has got to start at some stage. But sometimes along the games, sometimes you can be as important on the bench. And I think that's something that Gareth Southgate's doing. I thought they got it spot on against Germany. In fact, in that first 10, 15 minutes, Germany were fantastic. I thought they opened us up. On another day, I still say this now, on another day, Declan Rice could have been sent off for that change. Do you know what? If VAR if the referee would have sent him off, VAR wouldn't have overturned it. It was one of those really on the borderline decisions. Went with the referee, went with it, and we had a little bit of luck from that. But I thought in the second half, by far the better team defended really well, and I think that these next 2 games now, I think that we've got to be a little bit cautious where we're going to go gun because I think we're going to have to be the team. They're going to Ukraine are going to say, right, come and break us down, and I think that Denmark or Czech Republic will do. The one good thing that's going for us is that all the teams that we've played, Dan, none of them have really had an attacking threat, and I mean that a top attacking player against us. Even Germany, I think if they would be honest and say, well, the one thing they lacked was firepower. You have to rise your luck a little bit. Muller went through, missed. That's not our fault. You know what I mean? He went and missed it. So I feel very, this time next week we'll be looking forward to the final on the Sunday. I really do. I do think we get to the final. Do I think we win it? Difficult to go for. What I see of yesterday, I thought Italy was superb yesterday, by the way. Absolutely superb. I think that they have too much for Spain. So I think it is down to Italy. Italy versus England final. Said that all the way through. Still believe that it will be, and I've got no things at this moment in time to say that it's not going to happen. I think that I'm convinced that we're whether it's coming home, I'm not so sure, but I'm convinced that we get to the final, semi-final, final down at home. Come on, you know what I mean? Let's have it. Let's bring it on.
Yeah, let's do it, mate. I'm massively, massively impressed with what Southgate has done the last couple of games. I gave him a bit of stick before the tournament, and I was a bit surprised at some of his team selections. But when you actually talk about Southgate to people, you'll sort of say, I can't believe he's not playing so-and-so. I can't believe he's not playing so-and-so. When you actually say, who would you play then? No one can tell you because they can't play 8 strikers. You can't play Mount, Foden, Grealish, Saka, Sancho and Kane up top. Well, you can if you want, but you ain't going to do much about defending. So I always sit there and say, yeah, I'd like to see Grealish and Saka. I'd like to see more of Sancho. I think Mount's got the legs in the middle. But actually, you can only play sort of those 3 and maybe 4 tops. So I think we need to be realistic about our formation, if I'm honest with you, before we start going too hard on the manager. I thought he got it spot on. I thought the Germany game was superb in the second half. I was really impressed with Saka's first half performance. Really enjoyed Grealish when he came on. I thought Declan Rice and Phillips were absolutely superb. But I want to bring this question in because it's related to tonight. Who starts in the middle tonight, Lee, with Phillips and Rice both on yellow cards? So what do you think is going to happen with that? Do you think they're both going to play tonight, or do you think there's going to be a bit of just rotation in the middle?
No, start them. Start them. If they get booked, they get booked. You've got Henderson to come in there. You've got Bellingham in there, all the way there. I would play them 2 today. I would actually play a 4-3-3 today. Be a little bit more bold with my attacking today. How I would go with the back 4. My back 3 would be them 2 in the midfield with a Grealish in front of it, or a Foden. And then the front 3 would definitely get Grealish in it, Sterling, Kane, or if you want to put Grealish into the midfield, then Saka. But I think that Saka maybe just took a little bit of a knock today. Don't underestimate Saka's performance against Germany. He done a job in there, and to a point which when he came off, it then allowed Grealish to come on. So, but I think if he has got a slight knock, I will go that way there. And that's the greatest thing. If you got Foden, Saka, and Grealish in that position, you can actually rotate it. So one of them can come into the wide area, one can drop into the midfield, and you've got the protection of the 2 in front of you to let a Saka, Foden, or a Grealish run free. And I think that's what they've got to do against the Ukraine side. More so again, I would never have done that against Germany, but in the game against Ukraine, in the next 2 games, we could do that. And then I think against Italy, we'd have to revert back to a little bit more cautious like we did against Germany. But for these games here, when teams are going to sit in and try and defend, I think we're going to need to open them up from wide areas and the midfield. Mason Mount, I'm going to say this, very, very unfortunate because of the COVID situation. He's probably lost his place now. I can't see him getting back in unless, the only reason that he'll get back in the side at this moment in time is through favouritism. The 2 boys in there have done really, really well. You could actually leave one of them out and play a Mount and a Grealish, but I think you're taking too much of a risk, But we played with 7 defensive players against Germany, which was fine. I don't think we need 7 defensive players against Ukraine.
No, I think you're spot on, mate. I was really impressed with the tactics against Germany, but I don't think it will be that tonight. I'm going to bring up the team that I think it will be, not the team that I want it to be, the team that I think it will be. Pickford in goal. I think Walker and Shaw will probably keep their place. When we play 3 at the back, I actually think Chilwell would be a better option at left wing back. However, I don't think we'll go with 3 at the back tonight. I think it will be a 4. So I think Luke Shaw will come in at left back. Harry Maguire and John Stones. I'm with you. I think Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips will start. If they do get a yellow card, then so be it. At least they'll be fit for the final. But I don't think it's worth risking those 2. I thought they were immense against Germany. Both of them absolutely outstanding. I think Mount will come back in. I think he's Gareth Southgate's favourite, mate, and I think he gives us the legs in that position. I can't see Sterling being dropped. I can't see Kane being dropped. And if there is no Saka because of his knock, then I think it'll be Grealish ahead of Foden. A lot of people saying it could be Sancho tonight. Some in the chat, some saying it could be Foden. I think it's got to be Jack Grealish from his performance the other night. So what do you make of that, Lee? Anything there you think, no, I can't see that happening?
I wouldn't argue that, as I say, like, you know what I mean? As I say, like, you know, yeah, Mason Mount is a favourite. I get that. And probably if he does come in and, you know, it doesn't not deserve to be in the side or whatever. I thought we'd done well in the first game. But I just think that we just need a little bit more flair in there and someone that's going to open it up. Foden, for me, is a better player than Mount at doing that. Or Grealish. That's my opinion. But listen, that's a safe England team. If you want, it's still got the flair of the three up front and the protection of the ones at the back. So I don't think it's a bad team. And to be honest, with that team there, I think what my team, your team, or the team you think that's going to happen there will beat Ukraine today anyway. I really do. I don't think that they've got a lot to offer. Maybe on a set piece, but something like that. But I think that we've defended really, really well. We'll have to say, I thought Luke Shaw played really well in the last game. And also, you know, you have to tip your hat to Gareth Southgate by backing Pickford. I think he was superb in the game as well.
He's been brilliant. He's had a good tournament. Yeah.
He's had a good tournament. Very, very good tournament, you know. So, you know, as Kobe says, do we need two holding midfield players against Ukraine? If you're playing someone like Grealish, yes, you do, or Foden, it gives them that protection. You could actually play Mount and Foden in there and relinquish one, and that's something that he could do. But I feel that Phillips and Rice played really well the other day, and it also gives us the shoring of the back four and defend. You know, keeps us tight at the back, and I think that's important. Keep it tight at the back, and let one of the three or four of the players go. You know, exciting players do their stuff. I would actually like to see like a Grealish in the team. I think that if and if that means you have to play two holding midfield players, then I'd rather do that and build a team around him because he is so exciting.
Yeah, he is, mate. And I thought he was immense when he came on. It was just ridiculous. Absolutely superb. Before we come on to predictions, we're going to talk a little bit about the other teams that are in there before we wrap up. Obviously, Italy and Spain. Now, I've got to say this, Lee. If Italy and Spain had a Sergio Aguero or a Luis Suarez up top, I think they would both be absolutely unstoppable. They play the best football. They just don't have that kind of killer. I know that Italy don't need it because they've got a few other players, and Spain have scored the most goals in this tournament. But they haven't actually got like a player like that. Morata and Moreno, I think, have been very disappointing. And Italy have not got that one player. They keep bringing on Belotti, then it's Immobile, then it's Insigne. They've not really got the one that they rely on. A little bit like we have with Harry Kane, albeit he's had a poor tournament. I actually don't think that that's actually caused them any problems as such, but it's quite a good thing for England, is it not, that they haven't got that one killer? Because otherwise, I think they would be unstoppable. I really do.
Yeah, I do. I think that you know, if Spain had one of the like Torres in his prime, that, you know, there'd be unbelievable, like, you know, somebody like that. But Spain have done this before. They've played like, I think they won it. Did they win it? A World Cup or a Euros without a striker, you know, so they know how to do it and how to play it. And the same with Italy. I'm with you on that. That both teams are lacking that a little bit, like, you know. And if they did have that, you know, they'd be fantastic. But the one thing I think, you know, at the moment is a few teams lacking that sort of striker. You know, listen, I think that Belgium, they had it in all ingredients, but it just wasn't to be for them. You know, they sort of got an aging back four, which I thought got found out yesterday, if I'll be honest. So it'd be very, very interesting. Do you know what? Italy and Spain, I think that you couldn't call it. I'm only really saying that Italy are going to win it because of the form that they've been in. But there's no guarantees that they beat Spain. So, you know, I think that these teams, which is another good thing for us, is that they're all, you know, difficult tense games going into extra time and all that. Like, you know, we weren't even having extra time. You know, some of them going to penalties and everything like that. And that was done, even though that only went to 90 minutes yet, Belgium-Italy game, that would have took a lot out of the Italians. That was a difficult game to get through. But it may harden them up, who knows. But, you know, without a striker, they're doing really well and looking the part. If they did have a striker, well, you know, they could be even better. But we'll have to wait and see. They've not got that striker, though, have they? They've not got it.
They haven't, and I think that Italy as well. Like I look at Italy and Spain, they play the best football in my opinion. Italy, I don't know if you know this, Lee. They haven't lost a game since November 2018.
Yeah, unreal, isn't it? Unreal.
I mean, that is unbelievable, and they're unbeaten under Mancini. So that's why everyone's committing them as favourites, and rightly so. I think that on paper we have enough, England. It's just about how we set up against those teams. It's looking likely that we can't count our chickens. We've got to obviously beat whoever wins out of Czech Republic and Denmark tonight. And also we have to get past Ukraine. But if we can get past them, then I think actually, you know, we're looking at one of those thinking, who do we want? If we are going to get to the final, who would you prefer, Lee?
Spain.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, to be honest. I think Italy are a very organised team. So
yeah.
I think it will be very difficult to beat them. What about tonight? What's your prediction for the game? What are you going for?
3-0.
Oh,
I honestly think now, I do think you might think I'm silly. Like Harry Kane now will become the top scorer will win the Golden Boot in this competition. I think in his next 2 games he'll fill his boots.
Wow, you've heard it here first. I'm not going to be quite as optimistic. I'm only going to go for 2-0, but I do think it's going to be a comfortable win. I think Ukraine, however, look, we mustn't be disrespectful because they have got some great talent in their side. Yarmolenko is always going to cause issues. Zinchenko's final ball and delivery is fantastic. They've got some big, strong players there that are going to give us a lot of grief. However, I do think we will have enough. Some people asking, not only Devon, in the can we be a mod? I promise you, I know you keep asking, we will sort this out and we will get a moderator for the channel. We have got someone who is going to be doing it, but we will get another one for the chat as well. So that will be happening soon once we top and tail a few bits. So I know you keep asking. We haven't forgotten about you, mate. Lee, it's been a pleasure, mate. Enjoyed it again and looking forward to tonight. Are you on Don Robbie channel tonight watching it, are you?
I am, yeah, because obviously like I've got to go to the first game as well because my team in the sweepstake for the PS5 was Czech Republic. So I'm still in with a shout. So I've got to watch that game and then obviously the England game. And that's it. Like, you know, a barbecue for my mum tomorrow. So there it is. Like, you know, Kevin's in there. I think the Wimbledon champagne's gone to my head. Listen, Harry Kane will I think score goals now. I really do. I think that these games that we've got coming up, I don't think they're very good.
Well, I've got to ask you, and while we're on with KC's ear, it's gone to your Lee's head. If Harry Kane does get the Golden Boot, are you going to cheer any of his goals, Lee, or are you just not going to do that?
Listen, I'm very, very happy when he scores. You know what I mean? Like, but I won't cheer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I find it very, very difficult. And you listen, the Spurs fans, the hate I'm getting because of it is unreal. I find it very, very difficult. I don't know how other people feel. Is for 9 months hating on someone, and then for 2 weeks just say, "Oh yeah, like, I can start cheering him and all that." Like, you know, I'm very, very much, and whether it's right or whether it's wrong, Arsenal first. You know what I mean? Like, I am that. You know what I mean? My passion is Arsenal. I really like England to do well, but if England lose tonight, I will go to bed and go, I'll be disappointed because, you know, you want them to win. But I wouldn't lose sleep over it. If Arsenal get locked out of a cup situation, I'm tossing and turning, not happy and whatever. And that's how it is, you know. But for me, you know, after England beat Germany, you know, Harry Kane scored and all that, I'm buzzing for the game, you know what I mean? Like the next day, everybody's at work, it's great, you know what I mean? So I'm, you know, very, very happy, you know, and I will say this, I put it on record, if Harry Kane doesn't play well in these next couple of games, England could struggle. I think that, you know, we need him playing at his very, very best, like, you know. So, I'm very much so that he does really well, and I think that's why I've always backed him. You know, people go, "Oh, you hate Harry Kane" and all that. Like, even when he was playing bad, people were going, "Oh, let's drop him." I said, "No, you've got to keep Harry Kane in the team. I think he's a fantastic player. Let's get this straight. He's a fantastic player. Why do I not like Harry Kane? Because he's made my life a misery over the last 4 or 5 seasons, 5 years. It's fact. So I'm not going to be really happy when he's doing it now. He can score 15 goals. He's still. That's not going to make up for the misery he's caused me in the last 5 seasons. And that's a compliment to Harry Kane. You know, an absolute compliment. So, and at the end of the day, if I'm upsetting Spurs fans, then so be it. I don't care.
Mate, you've done enough of that over the years. It ain't going to change, is it? There's no love lost there, mate. No, listen, I'm with you, mate. I can't sit there screaming, going nuts for Harry Kane. I'm screaming, going nuts for England. So, you know, go on.
Do you know, no, just one thing on this. Like, a lot of these Spurs fans, right, are giving me a lot of hate in a moment, like, you know, and you know, messaging me and calling me all sorts of names and whatever. And I you know, carry it on, because it doesn't bother me. I quite like it, like, you know. But anyway, on the fact is that every Spurs fan that I've spoken to, right, every Spurs fan I've spoken to, you're out of order, not celebrating Harry Kane. I hit them back with this. So when Sol Campbell scored for England, oh no, that's different.
How is it?
Exactly. You tell me how it's different. Oh, he done this. No, he's English. But you slag me off. But when Sol Campbell scored for England, all Spurs fans, not one of them was celebrating. That's the Spurs fans that I know. No, that's differently. What he done to us is no. He's playing for England now. Get it into perspective. It's England. It's not Spurs Arsenal now. It's England. Why are you not celebrating a Sol Campbell goal? So they're hypocritical, aren't they, when they're saying that? And then when it was Sol Campbell, they've got their reasons. So basically, it's because he's a Spurs player that went and played for Arsenal. Nothing to do about him being English or England. And I get that.
Right.
I get that. So don't start, you know. So when Sol Campbell, now the difference between Spurs fans about the Sol Campbell thing, and this is one Spurs fan who's a nice Spurs fan admitted to me. He goes, "Lee, the difference is that Sol Campbell will probably score 1 goal in 50 games for England. Harry Kane is going to be scoring a lot more goals for England. So the issue comes up a lot more with Harry Kane than it will do with Sol Campbell. You know, so that's fine. You know, and listen, I'm going to be honest about this. In '96. I didn't celebrate any of Teddy Sheringham's goals, you know, when he was at Spurs. Now, I regret that, because I've met Teddy Sheringham on a few occasions. One of the nicest guys you ever wish to meet, right? I get on really well with him. You know, banter, gives me a bit of stick about the Arsenal. We've had banter. And I regret that now. You know what I mean?
Listen, I get it. Listen, I'll always cheer an England goal. It's just the way I am. I'm patriotic. I've always loved England growing up. But I don't start going mental because of the person who scored. I go mental because of the England score line, if that makes sense. But I'm not sitting there cheering, going nuts because I love Harry Kane. I'm sitting there going nuts because England had just got through. I'm patriotic. People are different, aren't they? People hate, you know, it's the way you support your club. I will always choose Arsenal over England, 100%. I'm with you, Lee. Always will choose
that's
over country. Yeah, 100%. If you said to me, do you want Arsenal to win the Champions League or England to win the World Cup? I'd pick Arsenal to win the Champions League. I would. People would go, that's crazy. You want England to win the World Cup in your lifetime. Of course I would. I'd like both to happen. But if I could only have one thing happen, I want my club to win the Champions League. So
Arsenal. I'm not being over. If you said to me today, Arsenal to win the League Cup next season or England to win the Euros, I'm having Arsenal to win the League Cup. That's the way I am. When it comes to cricket, rugby and everything like that, you know, I'm more in. I will celebrate. You know, when England won the World Cup at cricket last year, I was going mad because I haven't got that tribalism towards Lancashire, Yorkshire, Kent players that I have with Arsenal. You know what I mean? I'm more into Arsenal, going to games, going up and down the country. You know what I mean? For instance, you know, and I didn't really go mad on when Sterling scored, because I still think, you know, he ruined my weekend 2 months ago when he headed in against Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and things like that. I do like Jack Grealish, and I will go a little bit more man when he's. But Jack Grealish has caused Arsenal problems in the time, and if he goes to Man City, you're not going to like him. And that's the way the way I am about it, like, you know. And do you know what? I wish I wasn't, Dan. I wish I wasn't more. I wish I was more like I am when England are playing cricket or rugby or something like that. But I'm invested in the footballing side of it all, like, you know, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? Like, if Saka scores during the tournament, you know, I probably would celebrate that. But, like, you know, probably a little bit more. But I wouldn't be going like mad like when Saka scored for Arsenal. If Saka scores for Arsenal, it means more to me than when he scores for England, and that's the way I am. And as much as I'm buzzing for tonight. I really want England to win tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. But ultimately, you know, that's how I feel. You know, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, it's the way I am. I can't change. Can't change the way I feel. I wish I was like that. You know what I mean? Do you know what I always do now? I always put money on England to win. So that, hey, I've got that. Well, at least I can win some money. You know what I mean? Like, but perhaps I should put, you know, like my mate Paul, West Ham fan. He had England to win 2-0 and Germany to have an head start. So he had to beat them by 2 goals. England to win by. So, you know, he won a lot of money through Harry Kane's goal. So he's cheering Harry Kane. But
there you go. But
9 months of the year he hates him, like West Ham fans do. But it's a very, very difficult one, like, you know. So listen, there's no right or wrong how you support your country. You know what I mean? Like, some people don't follow England. You know what I mean? Now, you know, in Spain they have a lot of trouble with it, don't they? Because of the Real Madrid Barcelona connections and all the sort of different geography bits of it all there. So it's a good debate. And listen, if England win today and Harry Kane gets the winner in the last minute, I may not celebrate it, but I'm just as happy as you who's going mad. Let me put it that way.
Fair play, Lee. I've got to bring this up from Fergus. This is quite funny. What about being Irish and having to cheer Thierry Henry, hand of frog? We all remember that incident.
Yeah,
he's never forgiven him. He's never forgiven him, Fergus. Massive Arsenal fan, but he's never forgiven Thierry Henry for that moment. And he always says it. I absolutely love Arsenal, but Thierry Henry is a cheat. He always says that to me. Lee, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for clearing that up, mate, as well, because I think a lot of people actually were quite sort of confused about the situation, but it's club over country for me and you. But we are both massively looking forward to the game, and we both want England to go through. Lee, let's wrap this up, mate. It's been fun. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks to everybody in the chat for sticking with us. Over 110 of you at one stage watching live. That's absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant.
Really looking forward
to watching. Thank you for your support. We love it.
And thank you. We love it. Absolutely superb. So please keep coming back. We'll probably be back tomorrow, Lee, with a little bit of a wrap up about how England do tonight. We'll do a little bit of a show on that. And keep in touch. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the video. Follow us on our social media so you can find out what we're up to in terms of our content. And until then, we will see you next time, guys.